Jason's the Freeburg Garage. We are some part of the FXRT build, but most importantly, the last part we did was the lifters. We got those all soaked, installed, spec'd, torqued. Everything is good to go, covered up by that nice yellow cloth over there. And now we are on the pistons. We have to get them gapped ready for the cylinders. Very important because the service manual says if you don't do it, you're gonna have catastrophic failure. So let's get on the bench and check it out. All right, pistons, cylinders, and gapping. Now this is a kind of a three-step process before you get ready, or into a one-step process. I don't know how to put it, but this is a process that needs to be done. Very important as told by the manual, because if you don't, this is going to detonate the top end. After you just worked your ass off to make sure that this thing was put together nicely, this small step can throw you off quite a bit. Now, these are my old pistons. Luckily, I didn't have any catastrophic failures prior to the bike. That was a good sign, because there's a lot more damage that happens below when that happens, and luckily we were doing just a top end build because my rear cylinder was leaking. Here are my old cylinders. The difference between the old one and essentially new cylinder here is that these have been honed, bored out, cleaned up, and ready to go. I went 10 over on mine. And the reason why I end up doing this whole new piston, bigger sizing, is because of that oil that I was referring to. What ends up happening is that the cylinder itself starts to get out of shape, and then you start to have oil blow by that starts to come through on your cylinder. So I have my new pistons here, and luckily S&S makes the kits for these. This is a 9200029, and now we have our ring kit. Oil control ring, and then we have our top and bottom compression rings of the cylinder. So essentially we have our compression, and then our oil control ring that's going to be going on to here. Now, the way to get these installed, we need to gap them correctly, because we also have to use, if they aren't correct or gapped correctly, this tool right here is my oil ring grinder essentially, and we're going to slowly chip them away to be able to get these grooved and gapped correctly. So a lot of work. Let's get this all together, see how it comes out. Setting up the gap on these piston rings, I have it all laid out as our top, our second compression ring, and our oil rail or oil compression ring system here. For the first one, it's just a standard piston ring, nothing special. It's squared. Technically, if you had two of these, they can go on top or bottom. Our second one is particular because of the dot. We want to make sure that's facing upwards on the piston. And then of course it has a beveled on here, or they call it a reverse torsion ring. That helps out with the oil of the piston moving through the cylinder. So we're gonna get these start up and get set up into the piston or the cylinder itself here. So we're gonna slide that in and then start to work it a little bit. There we go. We're going to get our piston up, set up here, get it flat, and just get it just like that. Okay, should be good. Okay, and then we have our first setup right there, and that little area is what we are measuring right there for the gapping. So let's get that measured out, see where we land. All right, so we're adhering to S&S's service manual on these rings. So we're at 0.014 to 0.022 gap, and we want to get all the compression rings to match up as close as possible. And I went ahead and already mic'd this one as best possible to get rid of all that time play. And what I came up with, of course, is a 0.020 on this one, if that picks up on the camera. And it slides perfectly in, nice and snug. Anything below that, like a 0.019 is too big, and a 0.021 is too much to be able to get in there. So that's where we want to set it at. Don't want to go any more. I can't go any less on there, so we don't want to make any more gap on it, but that's a good spot that I'm comfortable with. Let's get the rest of the compression rings and see if they match up. Perfect. That's it. Awesome. Both gap the same. Let's do the oil rail compression rings. Start off with our 0.035, and this needs to be between 0.015 and 0.035. So let's see. Perfect fit at 0.035. Let's check the second one. There's our gap in there. Bam. Same thing, 0.035. That's where we're at. Looking good. All right, let's check our other cylinder here. Get our top ring situated. Start off with a 0.019. Okay. A little too small. That lines up. Yep, 0.021 or 0.020. I'm good with that. All right, so that's top ring. Let's do our second ring. Yep, 0.021 is right on the money. We're good to match, like that, good to go. Oil ones now. The last one was a 0.035. Oh yeah. And that's it right there. So we're good on that one. All right, perfect. 0.035, and we are good to go on the set. Installing the piston rings, we're gonna oil up the grooves on the piston, make things slide along nice and well. There we go. Nice and oiled up. Installing the oil rail system here. Install that first. Slip that over. Okay. Then we're going to make our bottom ring go on to the rail. And we will get now our top one here. Just like that. Now we'll do our second and our top. Installing the second ring right there. Be using this ring right here with the bevel on top, facing up. Is a reverse torsion ring, is what they call it by S&S, and it has a special groove on the ring that helps the oil flow for the piston. So we're going to stretch that on, make sure we don't nick the piston there. And do now our top one. This is just a standard boxed in, nothing special, no cuts. And we will throw this now on top. First piston all together, looks good. Get this nice and oiled up. Last prep for the pistons before they go inside the cylinders, all right? So we have what you should not do, which is right there, all of the rings being matched up right about there again. See? All those together inside the cylinder will cause the oil to flow through. That's not good. You don't want to have that. So this is how you properly do it on this piston. You're gonna want to do it on both, but this one in particular is already set up by the old service manual there. And what we have here is our second compression ring cornered up here, top compression ring set up to here, the bottom oil rail ring set up here, and the top rail and oil ring set up there. So those are all set up properly. Now we didn't have to do any of grinding. I thought we were gonna have to whittle down some of these rings, but all of them came out perfect. Super stoked. The cylinders look like they're ready. There's a lot more prep on those before we actually get them on the bike and ready to go. But for now, that about does it for me on this one, guys. I would greatly appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button, tap that like, press the notification, leave a comment below and tell what you think. For those who have already subscribed, thank you. As always, stay free. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.